Hello, Amy. So,
Hello.
I know a bit about you. I know you're active on this Instagram account.
Mhm.
You seem to be constantly swimming somewhere and doing something,
Yeah.
which is very cool. Who are you, and how did you get into all this? And give me a brief idea of Amy, maybe.
Sure. My name is Amy. I am in my spare time an ultramarathon swimmer. Unfortunately, not my full-time job, but we can't all have what we want, can we? And yeah, I've been doing longer swims for probably going on 9, 10 years now. And mostly I do open water swimming. I love to be outside. I love to be outside of the boundaries of the pool and walls and a lane rope. And it just, yeah, it relaxes me. So that's kind of me in and out. Like I'm an engineer for my day job, so quite mathematically minded. I like to have a plan. I like to work towards different goals, different swims. As you said, I always have a lot on. And then outside of those two things, I do a lot of swim coaching. I coach a little set of ultramarathon and endurance swimmers. So yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Brilliant, thank you. So, engineering. What engineering do you work in?
I was a systems engineer by trade. I'm now an engineering manager, so I run a team of systems engineers, firmware, software,
Okay.
hardware, all towards one goal. So a little bit like herding cats, but they're very, very intelligent cats. So somehow it makes it even more difficult.
So, were you always a swimmer? As a kid, did you swim?
I did pool swimming from a very young age. Yep, I've always swum, but it was more of a kind of life skill to make sure I was safe in the water. I was never the fastest pool swimmer. I was never I never got to be with my friends in the lane kind of appropriate to my age group. I was always in a slower lane. But then I did a lot of the swimming. It wasn't really a love for me. I just did it to get fit. I played a lot of water polo, so I did it to get fitter for water polo, get faster for water polo. Um, so yeah, just kind of grew up swimming, never particularly good at it, never particularly fast, never really learned to tumble turn, never got the hang of diving. And then yeah, I moved more towards long distance swimming, kind of 10, well, my first 5K and then my first 10K, my first ultra marathon swim in about 2016, and just started entering races, like seeing what would happen if I tried to go a little bit further in the pool, what would happen if I signed up for my first open water event, and kind of developed away from the pool that way.
So there's a gap there, isn't there, in my mind, to what you were sort of swimming, but sort of not really particularly engaged with the whole idea, and then you transitioned yourself or pivoted away into finding this swimming that you liked.
Mhm.
How did that sort of pivot, that bit in the middle happen?
Yeah, I mean, pool swimming. I think pool swimming has re persisted throughout as kind of this necessary evil. It was like it was the necessary evil for water polo to get faster and to get fitter. It kind of still is a little bit the necessary evil now. But really, what did it was well, I left university and all of my friends started signing up for marathons. Everyone started to hit their quarter life crisis, and everyone was signing up for marathons. And I did a bit of running, but I'm not a marathon kind of person. I was like, that looks awful. That looks absolutely awful. So let's, what's going to be really fun? Fine, swimming marathon. Let's sign up for that. And at that point, I hadn't done, I think, anything longer than about a 4K. So, like I said, I like a plan. I like little goals. I like little interim aims. So I was like, right, well, I'm going to swim a marathon if everyone else is having their quarter life crisis. So I signed up for my first open water swim, my first 3K, signed up for my first 5K. And it grew from there, really. I think because that was just before COVID, because it was a couple of years before 2019, 2020, and all those lockdowns, that really propelled it as well. Because, of course, in the UK, just everything shut down. You couldn't get to a pool. And I had already had a kind of a season or two getting a little bit more comfortable with the open water. So through that period, through those times, I started going to lakes a whole lot more, going out to the sea, going and getting my water fix wherever I could.
Great. So it's like, yeah, so the journey slowly developed for you without you almost realizing it by the sounds of it. And then there, obviously you're quite a commentator around the topic. And how did that come into this then? Because I'm assuming before you weren't really doing much on social media, but you seem to have grown a great following and support. So how did that all come in as well?
That was really after it was after my first ultra, I think. It was after I'd first done Windermere. And I signed up to swim the English Channel. I'd got into this, I'd found the love for it. I realized I loved being outside. I loved going longer and longer and longer. And I signed up for the English Channel, and kind of realized that there wasn't any resources out there that were telling people how to train for something like this. There was a lot of groups that you could go and swim with them, and they would, for a fee, tell you how to train. And there was lots and lots of stuff for ultra running and ultra cycling, but there was no online resource that said, if you want to swim something like the English Channel, here's how you do it. There was books, and that was about it. And I was like, well, I've just signed up for it. I want this thing. I want this resource. Let's be the resource. And it started out as a training diary, really, for probably the first like 3 or 4 years that I was doing the Instagram. Is I would put up every single session that I was doing, every single gym session, every single pool session, every single open water swim, kind of what I was doing, why I was doing it, and the theory behind how that was going to help me swim the channel. And it has developed and grown a little bit since then. I don't really tend to post every single session. I leave that for Strava if people want to follow me on there. But I still try and make sure that the information I'm giving to people is, if you want to do this thing, here's how you train for it. You don't have to train exactly like I do, but here's the theory. Here's how you can apply it to your own training, to your own plan. And it, as you mentioned, it's quite a big following now. So it is nice that I get a lot of messages from people saying that has helped them, that it is having the impact that I wanted it to have, which is lovely. So
yeah, no, it's lovely.
That was always the aim.
Yeah, it's great, and it's obviously there was a need for it, because I think you're right, because I've looked myself, when I've done some challenges myself. There isn't. It's hard to find information out there that's sort of supportive in a way, and not too sort of pushy. And I think you've got a nice balance there of just, here's what I do, take some tips if you wish, and I think that's probably why the success is there for you. That's great, thank you. So now you're in the 2025, moving into 2026. You've got some plans for next year. Why don't you talk about that and your involvement with this event in France, in the Cognac region? It's called the Flow is the short name, but I can never quite say the full name. Is it the
Flow of Gabarriers, I think, is how you pronounce it. Greg, a fluent French speaker, has not corrected me yet. The Flow of Gabarriers, yes. So it is in June of next year. It is a downriver swim in the Cognac region, and I'm going to be the 2026 ambassador for the swim. They have a whole bunch of different distances that you can swim. So 3K up to 16, all the way up to 33, and an invitational 42 kilometers. And really how I got involved with it, actually, I reached out to Greg. I reached out to them and I said, this has been a swim that has been on my list for years. I really want to swim it. I am very drawn to swims where I have things to look at. I like gorgeous scenery. I like to travel. I think maybe you'll notice from my history of swims, I've kind of moved away from the channel swims, the really big name, the big achievements that a lot of people do, because I just found them a little bit boring. So I tend to do a lot of lake swims, a lot of river swims now, and just that region of France looks absolutely stunning. And I've done a very cold swim, a couple of very cold swims this year. I like to challenge myself in different ways. I was like, you know what? Let's head off to the west of France, get a slightly more temperate swim, a little bit faster. You have the current and the assistance of the river with you. So, let's challenge ourselves a different way. Let's go see how fast we can do this. And Greg took me up on that offer, which was really, really kind of him. So I'm going to be heading down as the ambassador for the swim in 2026.
That's great. No, I think you make a great. Oh, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Just I think my camera froze a little bit, so I was just off and onning again. There we go.
Cool. There we go. I think I love that about the travel. The sort of the journey itself being the part of the important part of this. It's something I've learned to love, actually. So I think there's a connected event to the Flow called the Ultra Ebri in Spain.
Yes, the triple crown of marathon swims.
The triple crown. So I did that this year, and it's a similar idea. It's an assisted swim, and I got really, like you, I got really fascinated by that journey. And the things you can see as you travel down a river. It's less boring than just going out of the
exactly.
The seas a bit. It's fine, but there's not much to see in the sea.
No, you're kind of looking at your support boat for 12, 15, 20 hours, and it's like, and I love the people on my support boat, but I don't want to just be looking at their face for that long. I'd like a castle, a vineyard, a nice historic town, some good bridges. It wouldn't be too averse to a little bit of wine for a feed. That would be fine.
That's the thing. Yeah, so it's a good event. I'm going to swim it as well, actually. So I will be
Excellent.
there. I'll probably
we'll see you there.
Yeah, it'd be really nice. So in terms of this sort of this ambassador kind of role, this is something new for you, isn't it? I think, or have you worked in other sort of areas like this?
I've worked as an ambassador for different brands before. Yeah. This is my first time in the role for an event. So I'm really excited about it because I think it links very, very nicely with what I want to do. I've had a lot of chats with Greg and with a lady called Christine who looks after a lot of his marketing and communications about what I can do for their viewership that will help to train and help to prepare them for the event. So a series of videos to say, at this kind of time of year, you could be thinking about this in your training. At this time, you should start thinking about this. So it links really nicely with what I get a lot of satisfaction out of, which is helping to prepare people and helping other people to train.
Yeah. No, that's lovely. I think it's a really valuable resource there, and I think it's going to be very useful to people because you often go into the unknown with these things, and to have someone like you just sort of supporting in the background with some tips and ideas and preparation things would be great. So I'll keep an eye on those. Are those videos appearing on their website? How do they appear?
They will. I think they'll be going onto Le Flow's Instagram page and their Facebook page. I'm not sure if there's plans to have it on the website or not, but they definitely might be. or I think they'll be going out by email at least.
Great, lovely. So I should see those actually as part of
Yes,
it. Brilliant.
definitely.
So so good luck with that. I'll see you there. Now, so looking to sort of conclude some of this conversation, which has been great. Thank you. So you've got the Flow next year. What other challenges are you going to give yourself next year? What are your sort of 2026 thoughts?
So for my 2026 thoughts, I tend to go for one big race a year. I like to have one big thing and then quite a few little things to focus on. So the Flow is going to be my big one. A lot of the rest of the year is going to be taken up by me getting married in August.
Oh,
So not so
congratulations.
exciting for the for the swimming community. But actually, and again, I'm not sure whether you've seen this online, but I've been getting very into my ice swimming this
Yep.
season.
Mhm.
So I think I'm actually going to try and do an ice mile qualifier probably in January or February, and aim to do an ice mile next winter season. So it will really be kind of working up towards Le Flow, and then I'll have a little bit of a break towards the end of the summer, and then work up towards my ice mile again.
Great.
We'll
Oh,
see.
that'd be fantastic. Love to hear about that when it happens. Yeah, that'd be.
Yeah,
That's a really big
yeah,
challenge. Not
it
my
really
favorite
is.
idea, but I admire people who do it actually.
And funnily
Um,
enough, I never thought it would be my kind of thing either. The training definitely has been really, really tough. But it was going along to the GB Ice Champs and just the community feel of the event. The adrenaline and the atmosphere absolutely took me. So yeah, I'm sold. I'm a convert. That's it. I'm done for.
a lot of these things are about the community that supports it
Mm,
actually, as opposed to the event itself. It's the
yeah,
people that surround it and the enthusiasm they give off, that
exactly.
makes people do this stuff. So one last question then, really,
Mhm.
and it's about a barrier, but going through a barrier. When you're on these big swims, the English Channel, you've got the Flow next year, you're doing the Ice Challenge, you're going to hit at some point in those swims the brain saying, I've had enough, I want to stop, I want to get out
Yeah.
of this now. What do you use to get through those on the very long swims? What do you use to get through those points?
So it's two separate pieces of advice. When you're in that place, it's all encompassing. It's incredibly dark. It's incredibly difficult to see through, especially if you're hitting that point kind of halfway through a race. You know, like, it's been so painful so far, and I've got a whole nother one of those to go. So my first bit of advice is to chunk it up. The When you're doing a really long swim, it is incredibly difficult to visualize, wow, I'm 17 kilometers down and I've got another 17 to go. Your brain doesn't want that. That's awful. So chunk it up into smaller things. If you know your route, then look for landmarks. Say, I don't have 17 kilometers to go. I just have to get to the next bridge. I just have to get to the next corner. If you're, what I tend to say is you swim feed to feed. I'm not doing a 11 or 12-hour swim. I'm just doing a 30-minute swim. All I have to do, my only job, is get that next 30-minute feed, because that's
Mm.
easy. That's a lot easier for your brain to comprehend. It's a lot more comfortable to comprehend. I don't have to do another 10 hours. All I have to do is 30 minutes, and I know I can do 30 minutes.
Mm.
So that's number one. My second bit of advice is a lot bigger. And again, that it really feeds into the idea of planning out your training, of having this structure. I tell all of my swimmers, you have to try and find something in training that you can tick off that is going to give you the confidence that on the day you can do it. And that is different for everyone. Some people might want to do, if they're doing a 10-hour swim, they might want to do, one of these backyard ultras where you do a kilometer on the hour every hour, and you do that for 10, and they know they've done the duration so they can do the swim on the day. Personally, I've got a pretty nice rule of thumb. I know if I can do 60 to 80% in 2 back-to-back swims in like a Saturday and a Sunday, I know I can do the whole swim on the day. It might be a qualifier, an English Channel qualifier. It might be a night swim. But what you're looking for is that tick box that says, I did that in training. I did it and it was tough, but I ticked it off. And I know now, with all of this support around me, with the taper, with all of this feed, if I did that in training, I can do this. And you've got to have that little glimmer of hope to just cling on to. Yeah, different for everyone, but that's what is going to get you through.
Yeah, it's great advice. Yeah, really good. Very, very good advice, actually. I like that, because it's never quite easy to structure it in your own mind if you're not used to these things. So to get that external input, it makes a lot of sense. So I can see why you're a coach.
Thank you.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Thank you, Amy.